In this video, you will learn how to deal with central claim, main theme, and central idea questions on the SAT reading and always get them right. I'm Kat Severson. I'm the inventor of the Severson method, a scientifically proven way to learn anything fast, especially the SAT reading section. It is so endearing to me, guys, and endearing is one of those SAT vocabulary words that you have to know. So endearing to me to get messages from you, comments on YouTube, and DMs on Instagram, all asking me kind of the same thing, how to do these general idea questions like central claim, central idea, or the main theme. And after getting a big volume of those questions and also hearing from my private clients that when it comes to these author intention questions, they are feeling challenged. One of the clients told me that she often second guesses herself. Another person said, well, I feel like there's more than one way to answer that question. And at that point, I was like, okay, I owe my YouTube video watchers a video explaining how to approach these specific questions. And the reason I find this endearing is because you guys think that the way you should approach this type of question is different from the way you would be approaching any other SAT reading question. But it's not true. The way you approach every single reading question is the same. You must remember that the correct answer is absolutely clear, indisputable, verifiable, and objective. Many of you start to think, well, how am I going to get into the author's mind? And what is the main author's claim in this passage? And what you start to do is you start to channel your student voice as if you're in an English class. You start to look within to answer that question. And you should never be looking within. You should never be thinking about, oh, this passage made me think about this, or this passage evoked this type of feeling. No. Remember, the SAT is a standardized test. The SAT must be able to prove in the court of law, if necessary, that this correct answer and not something else is the central theme. And the only way for them to do that is to ensure that that idea is being restated throughout the passage all the way to 5 to 6 times. I have seen it myself where the same idea would be restated in one place in the beginning of the passage, and then in the middle, then again, and then again, and again, and again. So if you have ever been taught to look at the beginning and maybe at the end, at the last sentence or the last paragraph, this is not true. You must find a common thread throughout the paragraph, throughout the passage. Sorry, I always conflate these two. Conflate is another verb you guys need to memorize for the SAT. I always conflate the word passage and paragraph. So throughout the passage, it must appear 2 to up to 6 times. And right now, we're going to make a plan of how you're going to approach such questions. And then later, I'm going to do a little walkthrough where I'll show you 3 very vivid examples based on real SAT questions. Okay? So you guys know how I like to approach my reading passages. I like to look ahead and I like to look at the questions first. And if I'm seeing, and usually there's going to be a couple, a purpose question, what's the main purpose of the passage, and then a central theme or central claim or central idea question. Those are usually coupled together. So if I see a central claim question, one of those 3, I immediately keep it in the back of my mind as I'm reading the passage to keep track of repetitive ideas, repetitive phrases, repetitive thoughts. Because I know for a fact something that is being repeated over and over again, that is going to be the central claim, that is going to be the central idea. It doesn't matter what kind of feelings this passage evoked, what it made me think about, what was the last statement. No, the same thing that's being repeated over and over again, that is the central claim and the central idea. Cool? And so many of you are not even aware of the fact that the answer is in the passage. So first, awareness. Remember, the design of the SAT implies that it's going to be very formulaic. It's not going to be subjective. On the contrary, it's going to be very objective. And now that you have the plan, you're going to be able to see something 2 to 3 times in the passage. Let me give you a vivid example. For instance, we're going to choose a really simple claim. Yogis are flexible. And that would be the right answer. What is the central claim of the passage? And answer choice B would be the correct one, and that would be yogis are flexible. Throughout the passage, if that is the right answer, I guarantee you we will have to see anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 instances that restate that idea. When I say restate, I mean they say the same thing but using different words, or they demonstrate that idea. Let me give you an example of a restatement. So if the main idea is yogis are flexible, then you could say that yogis appear agile. Agile, same as flexible, another vocabulary word you need to know. Another example of a restatement would be that doing yoga and yoga poses and flow on a daily basis improves your mobility. Mobility improves yoga poses. Again, we're restating the fact that yogis are more flexible. A demonstration of that statement would look like this. They took, the scientists invited 30 students that weren't able to do splits, and then they made them practice yoga for 6 months, and it was hot yoga. And after that experiment, the 30 participants that weren't able to do splits were able to do splits. And now that is not directly stating that yogis are flexible, but it is demonstrating that idea, that if you do yoga, you're going to be more flexible. I hope you're getting what I mean by central claim, central idea, and main theme. All of those must appear and reappear over and over and over and over again. Now, let me show you 3 very vivid examples, and that's the time for me to go off camera, and I'll just continue with a voiceover.